Okay, so we're going to start with comparing the simple interest and compound interest. So the main difference between compound interest and simple interest is that compound interest earns interest on interest, meaning the money that you receive from the previous compound periods, you could also earning interest on that. So we're going to do a quick example between compound interest and simple interest. So we start with a $1,000 principal, 4%, for 3 years. So I am calculating these numbers on the fly, so you might hear me punching into the calculator. So let's start with the compound interest. How do we get interest earned? So for the 0th year, our starting point, we have $1,000. Our accumulated amount is interest plus balance, so we have $1,000. The first year, we're going to do $1,000 multiplied by 0.04. So that is $40. Okay. So our balance here is still that we use for calculation was 1,000. So now we have the interest plus the principal that we started with. Now we have $1,040. The following year, I use 1,040 instead to calculate my interest. So 140 times 0.04, we get $41.06. So what do we use? We use this number to calculate our interest. So now we have a total of $1,081.60. The following year, we're using that $1,081.60 to calculate our interest again. So we are doing 1,000.6 times 0.4. We have $43.26. And we use this balance to help us calculate that amount. So now we have a total of 1,124.86. Okay. So what did you learn here for a compound interest? Whatever we made here, like $40, or $40 is also making that interest because our balance that we use includes it here, right? So that $40 also makes a 4% interest. So in total, we're making 41.6 for this period. Similarly, in the following period, both the $41 and $40 earns interest. It's right here. The $81.60, right? Also earns a 4%. So that's why we earn a little bit more every single period because each period earns the interest from the previous periods. Okay? So the total interest earned here you can see is $124.81. Okay? And every single balance for calculation changes because we have to add from the previous period. So the final compounded amount after 3 years is $1,124.86. Okay, so let's look at the simpler case for the interest earned under a simple interest scenario. Again, we start with $1,000. The accumulate is 1,000. We're calculating our year one. We're going to get $40. It's the same thing for the first year. We use $1,000. Our accumulator is 1,040. Now, the simple interest what makes it simple is because our principal never changed. So all my years is $1,000. If that's the case, all my years is using and making that $40, right? So, but now I am adding the 1,040 plus the 40 to get to 1,080. Now I have 1,080 plus the 40 to get to 1,120. So the total amount of interest earned over the 3 periods is $120. And the accumulated amount that you have at the end of 3 years, just to specify, same thing, end of 3 years, is 1,120. So obviously you can see you have a lot more under the compound interest because you earn money from every single period that you earn money on. For simple interest, you don't. You only earn interest on the principal you started with. So every year you earn the same amount of money. Okay? I wrote down a bunch of important definition that you should know. Okay? I just want to specify on the compounding periods. Okay? The number of periods that you make money on essentially is compound period. Okay? So for daily, we have n equals 365 days. Weekly is 52. Monthly is 12. Quarterly is 4. Semi-annually is 2. So when you do compound, it's 365 days per year. Okay. 52 weeks per year. 12 months per year. 4 quarters every year. And 2 periods every half a year. So just think about this again with the diagram we drew before. This is the 1 year period. For the quarterly, you basically earn money every 3 months. So let me do half, and half. So this is 1 quarter. This is another quarter. This is another quarter. And this is the other last quarter. So for 1 year, you get paid 4 times. So if there's 2 years, you get paid 8 times. Okay, so that's what we do with the quarterly. Just an example here. Another important thing I want to stress out here, principal. Another word for principal is the original sum of money either borrowed or invested. Okay, this is the money that you put in or you borrowed. Accumulated amount is sum of all the interest that you earned plus the principal. So back to our original example here, the accumulated amount for 3 years is this number here. The accumulated amount for 3 years is this amount here. Okay. Cool. So look at important interest formulas. We have our simple interest, where I is equals to P times R times T. P for principal, what you started, or the sum of money. Your R is the rate, and then T is time in years. So this is important. Okay, so time in years. We only multiply the number as is if the time was in years. So if it's monthly, so for example, 10 months, then we do time is 10 out of 12, okay? The accumulated amount, we usually let it be A, can be found by I plus the principal. So the interest plus the principal will give you the A, accumulated amount. So for compound interest, the accumulated amount A is the principal multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate divided by the compounding period to the power of the compound period times time, T in years. Okay, so again, P is principal. R is the rate in decimals, right? This is also in decimals. And then T is time in years. N is compound periods. Okay, this is like the quarterly, the weekly, the monthly, the semi-annually that we talked about. So how do you find interest this time? Well, I only calculate the accumulated amount here. So finding the interest for the entire period must be all my money that I have, the accumulated amount, minus what I started with. So that's the principal. Okay, so that's how you find this. All right, some important note that we have to go through. Writing percentage as a decimal. Whatever number is attached with percent, I want you to divide that by 100. So for example, 3%. That's 3 out of 100. or 0.03. This one, 3.5 divided by 100, 0.035. 11% divided by 100, that's 0.11. 0.5 over 100 is 0.005. 104 divided by 100 is 1.04. Okay, so make sure you remember to divide. If you found the rate, you must multiply by 100%. So if you found R equals to 0.03, it's actually representing 3%. If R was 1.14, you need to say this is 114%. Okay, just a little reminder here. Okay, so this is when you, for solving. Just want to make sure you don't get that mixed up. Oopsie. Let me draw this properly. Okay, so this is for when solving for R. Okay. Calculate the simple interest earned on 975 loan at 7% over the 10 months. Okay, so I got principal is 975. My rate is 7%, or basically 0.07. My time is 10 months. Remember, time, T, is in years. Okay, so over the 12 months that we have. Okay, so interest is simple. So P times R times T, 975 times 0.07 times 10 out of 12 months. That is super important. 10 out of 12. So if you typed all this into your calculator, you would get $56.88 just to round up. Okay. Next example, calculate simple interest if he deposited the same amount that we saw, 5%, 2 years and 5 months. Okay, so this is what we need to think about. Remember, time was in years, but they're giving us 2 years and 5 months. Let's see. Principal, 975. Interest, 5%, basically 0.05. Time. Okay, how do I convert this all in months per year? Well, 2 years is 24 months because there's 12 months in a year. So times 2, I get the 24. Now, with the 5 months, I have 24 plus 5. That's 29 months in total. To represent this in year, we just got to divide this by 12. So, interest is then 975 times 0.05 times 29 out of the 12 months. That's how we represent it in years. Okay? So, to divide, when we divide it by 12, that's how we can do the conversion. Multiply all this into a calculator, you get $117.81. Okay, so just be very careful. The time given can change. If they only give me 2 years, then I can just multiply by 2. Okay, so let me just note that in here. If T was 2 years, then we can, oops, I don't know why that popped up. I equals to P times R times T, then we can do 975 times 0.05 times 2 like your regular way, which gives us 97.5. Okay, very different. Extra 5 months earns a little bit more, right? This is only 2 years. This one is longer. Okay. Next, we have a compound interest where we are compounding quarterly. Okay, so 7% per year, compounded quarterly, 697 years. So what this 7% per year means is I'm only earning 7% in the entire year. I want to calculate, I need to accumulate every quarter how much, right? So since there's 4 quarters per year, got Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, I got to divide by 4. So that's where your compound period comes in. Okay, so first, principal, your interest R here is 7%, 0.07. Your N is for compound period. Your time is 2 years. Okay, T is always in years. So the accumulated amount is principal times 1 plus R over N, T times N, right? So we're just trying to figure out how much is it in the account after 2 years. So I'm just looking for accumulated amount. So I'm just only looking for the A, not the interest, okay? So plugging everything in that we know. Then divide by 4, and then 2 times 4 is 8. So we had 8 periods, right? 8 compound periods in the 2 years. So 690, 1 plus 0.07 divided by 4 is 0.0175. 8, 90, 1.0175 to the power of 8. So 690 times 1.14888 for rounding. So it's about $792.73. Okay, so I'm not looking for interest. If I was, I would have to do A minus the principal for interest. So 792.73 minus the 690. We would have made $102.73. Okay, but I'm only looking for this here. Okay, hope that helps. All right, and to the key point of this unit is to find the difference between compound and simple. Okay, so find the difference between the simple interest rate and the compound interest rate on $20,000 for 3 years at 8% per annum. Okay, so I want you to be very clear what you're looking for. I am looking for the difference for interest. Okay, so step 1, I gotta figure out my compound interest. Okay, so be very clear what you're doing here. Okay, A for the cumulative amount, because that's the very first equation that I have for compound interest. Okay, my principal here is the $20,000. My time is 3 years. My interest rate is 8%. I have no compound period because this is on an annual basis, or the compound period is basically 1. So $20,000 on 0.8% for 3 years, or $20,000 on 1.08 to power 3. That is 25,194.24. So interest is always accumulated amount minus the principal for compound interest. So 25,194.24 minus the 20,000. That's a lot of money. Almost, it's basically like $5,000. So 5,194.24. Okay, so that's compound interest. Number 2, let's find the simple interest. This is easy. We have I equals to P times R times T. $20,000 times 0.08 times 3. That's 4,000 $800. So easy for simple interest. That's it. So number 3, you compare. Okay, find the difference. Okay, so you take number 1, compound interest, minus the simple interest. That's $5,194.24 minus the $4,800. So the difference is, drum roll, $394.21. Okay, so the difference, so this is the shortcut for therefore, the difference in interest is $394.21. Okay? So that's going forward. Very nice and easy. So again, step 1. What are we looking for the next question? Find the difference between simple interest and compound interest if the original sum of money is $800. So again, this is the keywords. Original sum of money means principal. So the principal is $8,000 at 4 years. And the compound interest rate is 9.4% per year. Okay, so again, step 1, what is my compound interest? Okay, I'm just going to keep writing CI for shortcut now. Okay, again, cumulated amount, principal, 1 plus R over N, T times N. $8,000 principal, 1 plus 0.094. Since we are compounded annually, so this is compound rate, compound period is just 1, so I don't need to do anything fancy. The year is 4, so $8,000 on 1.094 times to the power of 4. And then times 8,000 is 11,459.33. My interest amount is my accumulated amount minus principal. So that's like $3,000. And 459.33 is my interest amount earned. Okay, so simple interest, compound interest is about $3,000, 459. So step 2 is finding my simple interest. So I'm going to call this SI going forward. So that's my simple interest is principal times R times T, $8,000 times 0.094 times the 4 years. Okay? Times 4. That is $3,008. Okay? Step 3. I'm going to use compound interest minus simple interest. That is $3,459.33 minus my $3,000.08. It's quite a difference. I'm typing the calculator. That's about $451.33. Okay, so therefore, the interest difference is $451.33. Okay. Okay, so that is us going forward. I think you can do this pretty well. However, we can go backwards. Okay, going backwards is finding the principal. Okay, so that's finding the $8,000. Okay, given the difference. So I am asking now, given this difference, okay, part 3, given this difference, the $451, find me the principal. Okay, so how do we do that? So I need you to take a very step-by-step procedure to find that. Okay, so let's read this together. If the difference of the compound interest and simple interest on the sum of money. So sum of money is the principal. I'm looking for principal here. Okay. For 3 years, okay, we got the t equals to 3, is 2.97. So what they're saying is the difference of those two methods is 2.97. So that means my compound interest minus my simple interest is $2.97. The annual rate here is 3.5. Okay, so I got to figure out what is my principal. So I'm finding principal. So let's kind of start with, we're going backwards, right? So we got to start with step 3. Okay, let's start with step 3. What did they tell us? First, they told us that the compound interest minus the simple interest is $2.97. Okay, step 2, I want you to figure out your simple interest. How do we do that? Well, whatever you have, plug it in. The interest for simple interest here, SI is my simple interest, is principal times R times time. I don't know my principal, but that's okay. I'll just write P. My rate here is 0.035 on 3 years. Okay, so I want you to do multiply. Okay, so 0.035 times 3. So in this case, it's principal times 0.105. This is the same as you writing 0.105p. Okay, step 3, what's my compound interest? Okay, so this one's a little bit tricky. Remember, I can only find compound interest by doing accumulated amount minus my principal. Okay, so I know that my cumulative amount minus principal is my compound interest. What is my accumulative amount? Okay, my accumulative amount is this formula here. Okay, so I'm going to plug in everything I know for my A. A is principal, 1 plus R over N, T minus N minus P. Again, we don't know P, but that's okay. We'll just write P. My N is 1, so that's great. I'm going to have 0.035 times to the power 3 minus P. Okay, typing this part into a calculator is 1.1087, and then multiply by P, so that's my P right now, and then subtract P. Okay, so this, I need you to think a little bit. Okay, this is like saying 5p minus p. Okay, well, that is just 5 minus 1. There's a 1p in front of it, so that's 4p. So same thing for decimal. All you need to do is type in this into your calculator and then write p after. So that gives us 0.1087 times p. Okay, so now you got really important stuff. You got your CI is equal to this part now. That's my CI here. Next, you have your simple interest. SI is this part here, and that's your SI. So what I want you to do is find P. We're going to put in, basically, essentially replace. I'm going to replace my CI with this. My yellow is with my yellow, and then I'm going to subtract the green. The green is what? The green is this one here, right? I'm going to subtract that. Oh, I just want to remove the equal sign. Okay, so that's my green. And this is equal to 2.97. Okay, so I didn't do anything too fancy. All I did is kind of replacing everything I know with my number step 2 and step 3 here. Okay, so again, you can just take the number in front of the P and type that into your calculation. Okay, so that's 0.00372. P equals to 2.97. So this part is like a times x equals to b, you're going to divide both sides by a. So I'm going to divide both sides by that nasty decimal, both sides to get rid of it. So this is cancel, cancel. So p equals true. So I'm going to have $798.84. So therefore, so this is my, it's like coming back to my step 4 here. The sum of money, or principal, is $798.84. Okay? Another way to ask you is find the sum of money invested if the difference between compound interest and simple interest for 4 years at 5.5 per annum is this. So it's a big number, $33,000. Okay? Same method used. Okay? We're always going to start with number 1. Compound minus simple is $33,000. This is going to give us a huge amount of money. Okay? Number 2, let's figure out our simple interest. P times R times T. Principal, I don't know. My rate is 0.055. My time is 4 years. Okay, again, I don't have any compound here, so it's good. I am going to just use 1 for my compound. So 0.055 times 4 is 0.22p. Number 3, compound interest. Again, accumulated minus interest. Accumulated is my principal times 1 plus r. R is 0.055 over n. My n is 1, so that's just writing 0.055 to the power of 4 minus, oh sorry, I wrote this wrong. This should be principal, not I. Minus p. Okay? Type this part into your calculator. 1.055 to the power of 4. That gives me 1.2388 times p. Okay? Minus p again. So you're going to notice I'm always going to subtract 1. Whatever this number is, I'm going to minus the 1 here. So type this into your calculator. Minus 1 times p, 0.2388p. Okay? Again, this is my CI. CI is right here. Okay? And then my SI. SI is right here. So I'm going to step 4, put it back in, 0.2388p minus 0.22p is $33,000. Okay, so type in this minus this and then write p after. This is 0.0188p, $33,000. Solving both sides is dividing by that nasty decimal number. So p is equal to $1,755,319. Okay, and 15 cents. So that's our principal here. Okay, another way to word this, same idea. We are again looking for the principal. Calculate the sum of money. Okay, so we're going to look for the principal again. So the compound interest in 3 years on a certain sum of money. So I am looking for a principal again. At 3.5% per annum, compounded half yearly. Okay, so look, we're compounding half yearly. Exceeds the simple interest on the same sum of at that rate. So they are using the same sum, meaning same principal, the same rate for the same period. The difference is greater than simple by $96. That's what it means. Compounded exceeds simple by $96. Okay, so you need to extract from these sentences. Again, same start. Number 1, my compound exceeds my simple by $96, right? So number 2 is find my simple first. Simple interest, so you said, is going to be on the same principal, same rate, same period. Okay. P times R times T. Don't know principal, that's what we're looking for. The rate is 0.035. The time is for 3 years, right here. So keywords. So that's 0.035 times 3. 0.105 times P. Okay, number 3. Compound interest. Again, you start with the accumulated minus the principal. Okay, so the cumulative amount this time is a little bit tricky because now it's telling us it's compounded half yearly. So this tells me it's N is equals to 2. My compound period is 2. So principal, I don't know. 1 plus my R, 0.035 divided by 2 times T is 3 years times N, 2, minus the principal. So this is 0.035 divided by 2 plus 1, 1.0175 to the power of 6 minus the principal. Type that into a calculator. 1.1097 principal minus 1 principal. So again, we have 0.1097 P. Same thing. Principal for CI, the interest for SI. So sorry, I meant to say interest for the CI is this guy here, okay? Okay, so now again, I'm just going to replace my CI, replace my SI. That's my last step. So 0.1097P minus my 0.105P equals to 96. This is about 0.0047 equals to 96. Okay, solving for P, divide both sides by that nasty decimal number. Cancel, principal is $20,415.31. Okay, so therefore, the sum of money is $20,000, 415 cents. Okay. Okay, one more example on this. On what sum of money? Again, looking for principal. Sum of money is principal, right? Will the difference between the two methods for 2 years is 192 at 8%. Again, start with okay, and then number 2, we're going to find our simple interest, P times R times T. P is, don't know, R is 0.08, year is 2. So this is 0.16P. Okay, number 3, compound interest, again, accumulated amount minus the principal. Cumulative amount is 1 plus the 0.08. This is my per annum, so it's over 1 again, which is nice, times 2 minus P. So typing in this part into a calculator, .1664 times P minus P, you get 0.1664P. Okay, so again, calculator work is 1.1664 minus 1. You get this. Match back what we have. That is your CI. And this is your SI. Put it back in as your step 4. 0.1664 minus, so P, 0.16P, $192. Okay? 0.1664 minus 0.16. 0.0064p equals to 192. Divide both sides by the same thing. Cancel, cancel. P equals to $30,000. Nice. Okay, so that's how you find principal when the difference is given to you. Okay, the other examples here are pretty straightforward. I'll probably just do one of each. Okay, finding time for simple interest. Okay, now we're looking for a time. Okay, so you borrowed this much at 3%. The interest is 104. Find the time. So principal, 735. Interest rate, 3%. The interest is 104. So you have 3 things that you know. Interest is principal times R times T. You know I is 104.08. Principal is $735 times the interest rate times the time. I don't know time. Okay, typing into the calculator for this part. You have 22.05t. Solve for t, divide both sides by 22.05, right? So I'll just rewrite this. Okay, you're going to divide this because I'm looking for p. So p is actually, t is about 4.720 years. Okay, so if your teacher's picky, you can convert the decimal 0.72 times 12. That's about a little bit over 8 months. Okay, so 4 years and 8 months. 8.6 months, okay? But I don't know. I don't think they will be that picky. So this would be your final answer right here for time. Okay, you can try the next one. Finding the rate. Same idea. We're doing simple interest. We're looking for rate. So we're just going to divide. We have principal being 1,000. The time is 4 years and 8 months. So remember what I said about time. It has to be in years. So 4 times 12, 48 months. Plus the 8 months here, 56 months. Okay. I have interest is 1,266. Oh, the accumulated amount is given to us. Let's be a little careful here. That's not the interest. So accumulated amount is my A. My A is 1,266. So for you to find interest, you have to take A minus the P, 1,266 minus the 1,000. That's 266 is your I. Now, interest is P times R times T. Interest is 266. Principal is 1,000. R is I don't know. Time is the 56 months over 12. So type this in. So 1,000 times 56 divided by 12 R 4,000 666.67 equals to R equals to 266. So divide both sides by that big number. Cancel, cancel. R equals to, gonna be small, 0.057. So again, this is not an interest rate yet. So if you're looking for interest rate, you gotta multiply this by 100%. This is 5.7%. Okay, so the simple interest rate here is, so this part, the answer is 5.7%. Okay. I'll just do one more with you here on finding the rate. So borrowing money for 3 years, principal 9,000. Final payment amount, which is the accumulated value, is not 10,944. Find interest. So principal, interest. Wait, accumulated amount 10944. So interest must be principal accumulated amount minus the principal. So 1,944. And then you have R equals to, don't know. The time is 3 years. Okay, so we got everything. Interest, P times R times T, 1,944. Principal's 9,000. R is, I don't know, 3 years. Okay, so this is 27,000. R, finding R, divide both sides by 27,000. Cancel, cancel. 0.072 equals to R. So in percentage, 0.072 times 100%, that is 7.2%. Okay, well, that's how you find the interest. Okay, let's see your answer.